So thank you very much. Welcome everybody back to Ignite After Dark. I am sincerely honored and pleased and grateful that each of you are here this evening to join us for this session. And I'm excited for the opportunity to be a part of this. So thank you for Ignite After Dark for asking me to come here tonight and spend some time with you guys. If you are on the call today, it's because you've made an active choice to partake in this course, obviously, and you've made an excellent decision to build your businesses and yourselves, because as Warren Buffett says, the best investment you can make is in yourself. So we applaud you guys. My name is Wayne Clements. I'll be your facilitator for this evening. I am married almost 30 years. I've got two 20-something boys, one of whom is an agent on my team. I've been with KW since 2011. Most of that time I was a individual agent. And then last year I partnered with a guy named Andrew Bolton in my office. We now run a small team. We are in the Toronto area, just north of the CN Tower, about half an hour in good traffic, 2 hours in snow. And last year we did about $53 million in volume. I'm on the Rainmaker on the team. I'm on the ALC 14 times bold. And I'm also a certified KWU instructor. And I love to teach and I love to learn. And one of the reasons why I love to facilitate is because I learn every time I'm with you guys. So I'm looking forward to this evening. I graduated from Ignite way back in probably 2012. So I know the power of it from taking the course, but I also facilitated it in our market center for a number of years, and I've seen how it's changed lives. The first listing I ever got, I got making calls during Ignite. So I know how effective it can be. So thanks for enrolling and thanks for being here this evening. So today's session is actually two sessions combined into one. So we're starting the nurturing lead session, and we'll be talking about how to keep every lead and how to follow up on leads. So there's quite a bit of content. So we'll be moving fairly quickly. We have a 2-hour window here, and I respect your time. And so the goal is to get you guys out of here no later than 8 o'clock tonight. So a couple of housekeeping items. If you can participate, it's way better when you guys participate. So please, you can either raise your hand, drop it in the chat, or just unmute yourself and say, hey, Wayne, I got a question. There is due work to this evening, and that is the best time to learn, as the best way to learn is to actually do the work. And yeah, ask questions, all right? So don't be afraid to put up your hands. If I think it's a question that's sort of outside the scope of tonight's topic, if we'll parking lot it and come back to it. But yeah, I'm all for, interaction. So now I can't actually see the chat. So I was going to ask everybody where everybody's from. So I don't think I can actually make the chat so I can see it. So I don't know, where is it? Maybe you can unmute and just tell me where everybody's from. And we've got what, 40 on the call. So where's everybody?
Grand Blanc, Michigan here.
Michigan?
Chicago,
nice.
Maryland.
Okay.
Maryland.
New
Maryland.
York.
New York. Okay.
Montreal.
Yay,
North Carolina.
Canada.
North Carolina.
Okay. Anywhere else?
Richmond, Virginia.
From Virginia. Mostly East Coasters, right?
Yeah.
Nice. I love it.
Michigan.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Michigan.
Michigan. Okay. Lots of Michigan. Coming down to Detroit in summer to see Kenny Chesney and Zach Brown in Detroit. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a blast.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Louisiana. Oh, okay. Nice. Nice. Oh, now my screen's not advancing. Any suggestions on my screen not advancing?
Click on it again.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
There's my little team. I've got my partner Andrew, who's like 6'8", and his wife Lenka is our director of ops, and then Zach, and then the guy on the right hand side is my son Jack. No, that's us. So you guys have already started, you've already done the real estate expert, where I think you guys talked about your value proposition, and then you got into some lead generation, everybody's favorite topic. So today we are going to start the lead follow-up. And the reality is that generating a lead can take no time at all. I mean, you can get on the phone and I've had it where I've knocked on the first door and somebody opens the door and there's a lead right there. But turning that lead into converting them into business can sometimes take a long period of time, up to 10 years. I've had people in my database that long that have taken that long to turn into business. So sometimes it takes a long time. So this section of Ignite is going to teach you guys how to take possible business, turn it into probable business, which will translate into profitable business. That's the idea for today. So again, we're going to talk about keeping every lead. The lead follow-up process is essential to converting leads to business. So maybe before we begin, why don't we tell me something good? What's been going on? You guys have now been at this for, what, a week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever it's been. Who has a success story from what's been going on in their business so far?
Well, I'll go. Good afternoon, everybody. So what I've learned over the past 2 weeks and a couple of days, lead generation, command, and a few areas as to how not to be afraid to step out there into the world and build your potential clientele. So I put that into motion, and as a matter of fact, today I had my garage door, I needed to have the mount replaced. And so working with the local garage representative, he and I, after everything was done, exchanged information, gave him my contact information, and he's like, I know of a few homes that are out there coming up for sale because I've had a few, clients to ask me to come by and replace their garage remote, and he will be sending them my way if they are in need of a real estate agent. So getting out there is what I've learned. Just have no fear, and I have my teammates here to woosah with me. So I'm putting it into motion.
It's congratulations. It's that whole get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? So, and you've added, I don't know if that's your first piece to your B2B, your business to business contacts, because that's a great list of people you can share with your sellers, right? When the time comes, a great value, right?
Yes, he and I also spoke about that as well. As a matter of fact, two of my neighbors across the street may need their garage mount replaced, and I said, hey, we can work together as a team. So yes.
Awesome. Let's take one more. Anybody else have a success story they want to share? How about a challenge? Does anybody have a challenge they want to try and work through? Nope. Everybody's doing okay with their contacts and not, nervous and sitting in their car and doesn't want to go and knock on a door. That was me when I started. I think I sat in my car for 15 minutes before I knocked on my first door.
How long did you last in that stage? I wonder sometimes.
Well, I lasted about 15 minutes and then I said, come on, man, let's go and do it. And it's not that bad.
And that was it? Okay.
That was it. Yeah. Yeah. At some point in time, you have to, well, you either go home or you get out of the car and you get to action, right? So then you realize it's that whole, once you get into action, it's not as bad as you thought it was, and it changes your programming and everything else changes, right? It's that point far thing. So yeah.
So Wayne,
Yeah.
we've had various instructors over the past couple of weeks, and everyone has their own pitch. So what pitch did you use when you went door knocking?
Oh, my pitch now is just that, hi, my name is Wayne Clements. I always go with a flyer. I go with an item of value. So we have a market report that we take whenever we go, and I hand it to them and I say, I'm just popping around today to say hello to the neighbors and happy spring and just dropping off our latest market report. just keeping you up to date on the sold numbers for the area. Just wonder if you have any friends or family who might be thinking about buying a home, investing in home, or buying, selling, or investing into real estate. That's it. And if they say no, I say, how about you guys? Do you think about making a move? No, that's not. And then go from there. And then I ask them if our flyer, I'll ask them if they want to subscribe to the monthly version of the flyer and go into our email from there. But it's pretty simple. Yeah. And I learned not to ask them if they were selling first. I always ask if they have friends or family, because the first thing people do is they open, because now when people know me enough that I've been door knocking the same farm for, 13 years, that as soon as they see me at the door, they say, I'm not selling, Wayne. And then I'm like, actually, it's not why I'm here. I get it. We wouldn't want to lose you as a neighbor, right? So pretty simple pitch. Yeah, I don't know if that helps. So, all right.
Yes, it does.
Great.
Yeah, that's
So here's our agenda today. We're going to talk about what is lead follow-up, how to lead follow-up, the post-lead follow-up. We're going to talk about recaps and ahas. The daily success system, as you guys know, we're not really doing the call. So that is our agenda for today. And by the end of it, you should be able to describe the benefits establishing a system of lead follow-up, of applying the 19 to connect, touch campaign and lead, and explaining the importance of cementing the relationship with your leads. So what is lead follow-up? So if you see this graphic, this wave, all of your clients that are in your database live somewhere on this wave. At the top of the wave, where you can see the circles, the dots at the top, that is where they're intending on moving. At the bottom of the wave is where they are starting to maybe think about starting to make the move again. But at the top of the wave, that's where they are. But everybody in your database lives on this wave. And over the course of a lifetime, I said to my wife after I read this, I said, Janice, you and I are very average. We've been married 30 years and we've moved 4 times. So we move basically every 7 years, which is kind of on the average. But people are going to move over the course of their lifetime probably 3 or 4 times. And the distance on average is 7 to 10 years. So if I gave you guys a lead at the top of the wave, how would you categorize that lead? You can unmute and shout out.
It's hot.
Hot lead. Yeah, because they're ready to go, right? Yeah. So if I gave you a lead just on the downslope of that wave, how would you categorize it?
A slow move.
Yeah, some people would call it a bad lead, right? Yeah. So I think what we'd like you guys to think about is that no lead is a bad lead. They are just somewhere, they're just on a different place on the trajectory. At some point in time, again, 3, 4 times in a lifetime, they are going to move. So the key is, as a real estate agent, is that we want to stay in touch with them with enough frequency so that we become, we're in their emotional proximity, so that when they think about making the move, that they're going to think that your beautiful face is going to pop up in their head and they're going to reach out to you guys. So I heard something a while back that most of the people that are on market right now didn't know they were going to be on market 90 days ago. And that's just kind of life, right? And then I read an article in The Atlantic not too long ago as well that said that major life changes happen every 12 to 18 months. So something's going to happen, death, divorce, marriage, child, something in there is going to happen in somebody's life to change their their life significantly. And there could be a real estate move that is involved in that. Has anybody had a person who has sold and then within a year or 2 years has reached out and said, I got to sell again? Because I have. Has anybody else? It happens, right? Even though on average it's 7 to 10 years, it can happen a lot faster. And the key part of it is we have to stay in touch with them with enough frequency so that when it does happen, that we're in touch with them, right?
I find that to be more with the that would occur with military, being prior military, but on average active duty may be at their location for approximately 3.5 years. Those of us that are we're reservists, we can stay forever in one place, but on average, active duty moves a lot.
Right, right. And so for those of you who are in states that have military bases, I'm assuming that's a pretty good source of business, right? If you can get into that, if you can service that community. So yeah, that's a lot faster.
Wayne, can I jump in for 1 second?
Yeah.
So don't have the blinders on. The military is a key factor. I'm currently working with clients that are less than 2 years in a house, and it was job loss. So there are people that are still recovering from COVID not because they can't necessarily afford their home or it was a bad mistake. It's just they're not keeping jobs like they used to. So it can happen in any way. That's that life change that Wayne was talking about. So I have a short sale right now, and it's because of job loss. So it's out there.
12 to 18 months, right? It's an unfortunate situation, but it's the reality, right? So so here we have a lot of people. So in Canada, we have terms to our mortgages. So we have 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 10-year terms to our mortgages. So a lot of people 5 years ago had interest rates under like right around 2%, and the 5-year fixed renewal is 4.39. So it's doubling. So if you have a big mortgage, your payment is going to go up a lot. So there's a lot of people that are going to feel significant pain. They're thinking, man, when I have to get out of this house because when my mortgage is renewed, I can't make the payments anymore. So that's just a fact. So again, our thought process here is to take this possible business and turn it into probable business, which will become a profitable business. I've got the 2021 NAR stats in front of me, which they collect every year. And for those of you who go to family reunion, Gary always shares these. In 2021, 73% of buyers were likely to interview one agent. And I know the 2023 number was 80%. And actually, it's interesting. I think the numbers are actually increasing. Like the percentage is going up. More people are only interviewing one realtor. So the key is that the data tells us that for the most part, people are only going to interview one agent. So you really want to be that agent. And that is about staying in close emotional proximity so that when they call, you're the only person they call. Because like in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent says, if you aren't first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business. And those numbers tell us that 73% of buyers and 80% of sellers are going to interview one person. So if you're not the first person, very likely you're not going to get the business. So, and the concept is what we want to do is we want to take up the space in people's minds. It's called mind share. And then again, in that emotional proximity is about touching our database on a regular basis. So when you guys, now that you've been doing your phone calls and your lead generation, what is the most effective way that you are connecting with people? What are you finding is the most effective way? Is it text? Is it phone calls? Is it face-to-face?
I think from experience that face-to-face and also like direct texting, messaging people is the best way to connect and get some response from them actually.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, typically the best way in lead generation is sort of that face-to-face, either over the phone or again, that face-to-face part. And the text messages and emails are a little less effective. The same is true for lead follow-up. The most effective lead follow-up measures in terms of their impact is our phone calls and face-to-face. And obviously you want the ability to do the other ways as well, but face-to-face and over the phone are the best way to go about it. So how to lead follow-up. So this is best practices. I think you guys have seen this before in the lead generation segment or maybe in the database segment. But these are the three systems that we're recommending that you guys use and implement into your business. So the first one is leads. So when a lead comes in, and a lead is somebody that you haven't been in contact with. All right. Lead comes in, there's a 19 to connect system that you can put them in, and that's made up of 4 touches, quarterly call, 12 touches would be a monthly email, newsletter, market report, video, 2 touches would be a promotional direct mail, such as a magnet calendar, printed market report, and then 1 touch could be an annual party, movie screening. Then there's 1 to cement, and then there's once they become a contact, you convert them into 36 to convert, which is made up of 36 touches, and you can see them there. Right now, we're talking about leads. So this would be a cold lead if you're advertising through a listing, or if you're running ads on Facebook, or somebody reaches out to you, you've run something and they reply and they're a cold lead and they come into you. The idea from the cold lead is to have them move into some kind of touch system right away. So the intent of this 19 touches is to spread it out over the course of the year, which works out to about a touch every 3 weeks. And keep in mind, so guys, this is not a, you can tailor this to whatever you want to do. This is sort of, this is best practices, but this, you can make the touch system any way you want to. Has anybody used, for the quarterly calls, is anyone familiar with the DTD2 system? And this is where if I was a little more technologically able, I was going to drop a link into the DTD2 system. So for those of you who have taken Never Ending Referrals or Bold, the DTD2 system basically breaks down your database into 2 letter groups a week over 13 weeks, 4 times a year. And it makes it really easy, a really super easy system for you to call your database. So you can Google it. If you just Google Keller Williams DTD2 system, and the calendar will pop up, and you can download that, you tag your guys, and away you go. It's a great system. So when do you think a lead should go into the 19 to connect system? When should they go in?
As soon as you meet them.
Yeah, as soon as they come in. And this lead would be, technically, if it's a lead, it's come in online, or this isn't a face-to-face yet, right? But the lead would go, yes, into your database as soon as you receive it, right? And how quickly do we need to reach out to that lead once they've reached out to us?
As soon as possible.
Immediately.
Yeah. I don't know. We do online advertising. Obviously, it's not really our forte. We are database and geo farms. I think the people that are doing like hardcore pay-per-click, and maybe if anybody's on the call and wants to kind of jump in on this, my understanding was that the response rate is really fast. Like, it needs to be like under 5 minutes. Can anybody shed some light on that? Am I wrong on that, or is it shorter now? Anybody know? I know it's fast. So, and why is it fast? Why do we have to respond so quickly when an internet lead comes in?
You may not be the only one on that lead trail.
Yeah. I found that if I respond the next day, I call somebody, say, hey, you reached out to me about my listing there on 123 Main Street. He's like, which one was that? Oh, he's the 4-bedroom, 2-story house with the pool. He's like, I don't even remember. I was clicking on so many listings that I don't even remember what house you're talking about. So you need to have something that responds really, really quickly. So now in our system, because we use Follow Up Boss, as soon as a lead comes in, it's assigned to one of the sales guys. The first touch that goes out is a text message, and it responds right away. It says, hey, thanks for reaching us about the property. What's the best number for us to reach you on? But they get that like immediately, and then our guys need to respond within the first 12 hours after that. But speed to the lead is key, because if you're not responding to them fast enough, some other agent's going to. So in your participant guide, there is a lead follow-up best practices page. If you can pull that up, we got to get you guys started on beginning to look at a plan. So I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes to kind of work through these 5 questions and make some notes on what you've got going on in your business right now. Because in order to move forward, we need to take a little you need to like sort of figure out where we are with our business before we can advance forward. So take 5 minutes and just make some notes on these questions. Okay, maybe we can take a couple of minutes to just kind of go over these. Again, the first one's asking, what are my strengths when working with people? And this kind of goes back an early Ignite, you're asked to do your value proposition. And I know that's kind of tough for some people, but regardless of whether or not you're you're a seasoned agent in real estate or newer to the business, there's value to what you bring to the table. And so the question is, how can I adapt that value and bring it to the people that I'm contacting? So just, if you haven't finished your value proposition, I would suggest you do that, and then think about how you can kind of tailor that to bring a great message. And what are some of the reasons I might have for contacting the lead? What are some touches to do before and after a phone call? Well, I mean, a really nice reason to contact a lead is just to find out how they are. But there's also, you can also have market reports, you can have events. There's lots of reasons why you can reach out to somebody aside from that. So everyone knows what the Ford conversation is when you're contacting somebody. You're going to have the family, occupation. Yeah, everybody knows that. Perfect. Okay. And how am I using the conversations to let the people know I'm in real estate? And again, I would be careful around I think the Ford conversation dictates whether or not you go to real estate. If something tragic has happened in their life, I'm not going to real estate with them if that doesn't seem appropriate. So I think that's a feel thing. But if it's an appropriate way to go, then remind them. So, hey, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you if you knew of anybody looking to buy a home or sell a home. And do you have any real estate plans in the near future I can help with? And when is the best time block to lead follow-up? I'm a morning guy. I like to do all my stuff in the morning. I like to have my day, my fundamental job description finished by 12:30 or 1 o'clock at the latest every day. So lead follow-up for me is part of my morning routine after the lead generation part. And then how much time should you take to reach out to a lead? What is your standard to reach out to a lead? Hopefully that was a helpful exercise. Does anybody have any questions about that? I like the heart. Okay. Some more due for you all. Now's your opportunity to design your own 19-touch program. So you can review this slide and you can see that the first 4 touches are the phone calls. And again, you have to assume when you're building your 19 touch, assume that you don't know anything about these people, right? You haven't had the opportunity to connect with them yet. You actually haven't had a conversation. So you really don't know who they are. So your connect process or the way this gets laid out, it probably should be fairly generic. And I see they've got a birthday card on this list. However, if we haven't spoken to them, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any lead generation like funnels or anything that asks for a birthday of somebody, but maybe other people do, and maybe they have that information and you could use it. I would keep the information fairly generic. The one thing I wouldn't change on this is the 4 calls for sure. That's a standard in terms of the quarterly call. And then the 12 other touches, again, they can be 12 emails. It could be 12 market reports or newsletters. It could be something you do via video. It could be events or local events you want to promote or anything else, right? Changes in the market, maybe changes in interest rates or government policy, whatever it is you're going to reach out to. But that'd be 1 per month. And you can decide whether that is a video or some kind of newsletter, whatever it might look like for you. And then the direct mail piece, again, that would depend on how much information you have when you're running your ads. Most of the time, the people that come in through our ads we don't have their address. It's usually just an email and a phone number. But if you had a direct mail, you could actually send them something, and then you could do an event. So why don't you take 5 minutes and come up with your 19 touch. I think you've got 4 already that are easy, and probably the 12 other touches are probably fairly easy as well. It's just the other, whatever it might look like after the other 3. And when you're building this, you probably don't know if they're a buyer or a seller or an investor, first timer, renter. You kind of assume that you might not have that information. But again, it depends on how you're filtering out people through the lead through your ad. I'm trying to think, because we run all of our ads through Connect, and I think the only information that we get on Connect is an email and a phone number. I don't think we get anything beyond that.
That's weird. Oh dear. Sorry, I have an old computer.
That's okay. Once you have this built, you can then go into Command, into your smart plans or whatever CRM that you're using, and build these plans around it so that when the lead comes in, they can automatically funnel into the smart plan, and it would trigger it right away. And then you don't have to, you can set it and forget it. It'll prompt you as to when you need to reach out and email and all the other stuff. Okay, so if you didn't get through that, you might just want to keep that as homework. Is there anybody other than what you've seen on the screen here has got some cool ideas they want to share for touch points? I don't see seminars. Is anybody doing seminars yet? First time home buyer seminars, seller seminars. Those are fun. Those are great touch points.
Ooh, I was just it's so I was just going on command because someone mentioned it. Well, the instructor from yesterday mentioned that we can pretty much have a plan on Connect that has everything for you to have your home first time home buyer seminar. So I was looking into that today and planning on doing one because a lot of my sphere of influence will be first time home buyers. So I feel like that's a good way to just kind of get them to know that I'm in real estate and everything.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great idea. And why go through all the hassle of, inventing it yourself if it's in Connect? Like, just, we call that rip off. R&D is rip off and duplicate, right? It's there for you to use, right? Why do it? So that's a great idea. Anything else? Anything other than market reports? Or
I live right around the corner, or a mile and a half, I should say. I could run it from the minor leagues baseball stadium. So hey, when the events are, when the home team is home and playing, be out there to support as
yeah,
well.
yeah, it's a great idea. Is anybody familiar with the 10 days of pain? So this is something you could also implement. And basically it's when the lead first comes in, you reach out to them one time a day for the first 10 days. And you vary, but depending on the type of information you have for them, you're going to contact them once a day for the first 10 days. And after, if they don't pick up or answer, then they just kind of roll into the rest of this. But right off the hop is 10 days. And I think it's Tony Baroni. He's out of Florida. They do 10 days of pain, but they do like 2 or 3 touches a day for 10 days. Like, it's super hardcore. They are on you. Like, if you're a lead that comes in, you are either going to answer the phone so they stop calling you, or you're going to call the police. One of the two things is going to happen. But there's also a 3x3 program where you can go 3 times a day for 3 days. It's a whole bunch, but that you may want to have something also, like as soon as the lead comes in, where you layer in more touches, and then roll them into something that kind of takes them out over time. But right up front, you may want to just kind of have something that's a little more intensive. So when you've generated the lead and you've captured their information, the idea is that you want to start talking to them. And the problem is that you haven't heard back from them yet. So you really don't know who they are, again, whether they're a buyer or a seller or an investor, whatever it might be. So the idea is now you're going to communicate your own value proposition to them and keep it fairly generic. And you want to have a message that is going to sort of resonate with everybody, as you're sending out that message. As you start to engage with your leads, you'll learn about them. And as you learn more about them, you're able to tailor your message. You'll be able to sort of segment them. And one of the things I think you guys talked about when you're talking about databases was tags. So this is where tags come in really handy, whereas you can have multiple tags within your database and you can start sending them different information. Now, initially, managing your database is you're going to probably keep it fairly generic because there's a lot of other stuff going on in your business. However, when a database really returns for you really well is when you can start sharing information that they actually care about. So, and the way to do that is to figure out what they want and then target market them or target them and tag them so that if they're a buyer, they're going to get information on buying a home. If they're a seller, they're going to get information that's pertinent to a seller. If they're an investor, they're going to get information that's pertinent to an investor. And that way, that's value add, right? And they're going to stick around and they're going to continue to open your emails every time you send them something. The idea is to open a two-way conversation, so engage them into our businesses. So if you turn to the Communicate with Value page in your guide, once we know the source of a lead, we can narrow the information that we now send to them. And that, again, we're going to pair that information so that it resonates with them and they find value in it. So if you're looking at your lead generation, you're going to talk to somebody differently that is referred to you from a client and somebody that comes in as, say, if you were running a first-time home buyer seminar or something like that. Now, in that, what I'd ask you guys to do is take down your top lead sources that you want to focus on. You probably should have 3 lead sources that you want to focus on in your business. And if you don't, maybe think about where they want to come from. Write those 3 things, those 3 sources down. And think about questions that you would ask those three resources when you got them on the phone. Because part of really connecting with people is knowing what we want to say to them. So if you're a door knocker, you're going to need a door knocking script. If you're calling on FSBOs, you're going to need a FSBO script. If you're calling on expireds, you're going to need an expired script. We don't have really, we can't call expireds up here, so I don't have to worry about that script. But if you're calling around a just sold or a just listed, you're circle prospecting. What is it? Or an open, or maybe it's an open house. Maybe your three sources is going to be open house and geo farm and something else. You need three questions, powerful questions. So I'm going to do a little artwork for you guys here too. And hopefully you can see this online. Not all questions or the start are created equally in terms of what, why, where, and who. Each of those questions is not as powerful as the other when we're creating those questions. So what do you think is the least most powerful a W question between who, where, what, and why?
Why?
Why? Yeah. Why do you think that? Why do you think that is?
People get defensive.
Yeah, it's a little accusatory, right? And for those of us who have kids, man, do we hear why a lot, right? I'm not as much as anymore because my kids are in their 20s, but when they were little, it was like, why? So if you, I don't know if you guys can see this at home, that is the pyramid of the power of the questions. Who is your least most powerful start? And then it's what and where. And the most powerful question is who. The way to start that is who. Who would benefit the most if you were to sell your home right now? Everyone got that? So when you're writing your questions out, maybe avoid the whys and stick to the what, where, and who. Because you can, instead of saying, why are you thinking about buying or selling, you could say, what's got you making a move? What's got you thinking about buying a home or selling a home? Yeah, tell me more about that. Where do you want to go to? Who's going to benefit from that? I'll give you a couple more minutes to work on that. I didn't realize when I grabbed this water that I grabbed like a wild berry water. And the first time I sipped it, I almost spit it on my computer. I was like, what is this? Not bad though. How are we making out with that? Okay. You guys have some questions? Hopefully you've got three sources. I think that if you look back at the lead generation models, most agents are doing a fairly high business. They sort of focus on three sources of leads. So that's probably a good place to start, and then start building those questions out of those three sources. Any ahas from that? Anybody wants to share?
You know what I'm liking about this, Wayne? How you really broke it down. Like you really like broke it down. There's like a technique here. I really like the way that it's being presented right now. I think it's very clear for me in my head.
Awesome.
So
Great.
thank you for that.
Oh, thank you for the feedback. That's awesome. I didn't write the content though. I got to be honest with you. I'm augmenting here and there, but I'm glad you're enjoying. That's great. So let's talk about the post-lead follow-up. So after we obtain permission to have a two-way conversation, this is where the lead now becomes a contact in our database, and you guys can sort of see the funnel where the lead comes in. That's number one. That's your lead capture through your prospecting and your marketing. And then it goes into your database, automatically into your database, into the lead section. And from the lead section, you're going to put them again in that 19 to connect, form that relationship. And then once you've had a two-way conversation with them and they give you permission to stay in touch with them, because we actually do need that permission to stay in touch with them, they become a contact. And inside the contact, we're going to continue to stay in touch with them and strengthen that relationship. Hopefully we're cultivating them towards for conversion. And the conversion is into a newer repeat business or a referral piece of business. And then it loops back up into the circle again. Now, connecting with the lead doesn't necessarily mean that that they're going to do business with you right away. So the idea is to, again, to strengthen that relationship. And that's why we continue another touch campaign. After they become a contact, they go into a different touch campaign. So whether or not they're a lead or a contact, they're always on some kind of touch campaign. Has anybody out there familiar with John Maxwell? Or read any John Maxwell? So he writes a lot of books on leadership, and he wrote a book called Everybody Communicates, Few People Connect. And in that book, fundamentally, every time you meet with a client, the client is asking three questions about us whenever they meet us. Is one, can I trust you? Do you care for me? And can you help me? So those are the three questions that they're always asking about you, whether you're a buyer, or whether they're a buyer or a seller, is, can I trust you? Can you help me? And do you care about me? So everything that we design in our business, every piece of marketing, every phone call, everything we do is designed to answer one of those questions, because when all three of those questions are answered, they're going to move ahead with you. Is it a little unlikely, or is it a chance that a lead that comes in is not ready to do business with us right away? Yeah, it's very, because they don't know us, right? I'm always shocked whenever I knock on somebody's door and I've never met them before, and I'm like, yeah, I'm selling my house. Why don't you come and meet me? I'm like, oh, that's awesome, But it's a little shocking to me, because I really don't know them, because I think it takes time to build trust, and maybe they just know who I am and reputation, all that stuff. But it does take time. And so answering those three questions. So I would have those questions anytime you're doing something. Does it answer one of those questions? Am I building trust in my relationship with people? Because that's fundamentally what we're looking to do. So once we've been able to get a hold of the lead, and they've now become a contact, we want to do this one to cement touch. And so everyone in your database should be cemented right as soon as they move into the contact stage, from the lead stage into the contact stage. So what do you guys think the purpose of the cement touch is?
Would that be where thinking of materials, cement is hardening, firming up, reassuring that you're not going to go anywhere. I'm just trying to draw the definition of cementing, utilizing different thoughts as to
Yeah.
keep the client. So
Yeah, we want to cement that relationship, right? So we want to set the tone for the relationship together. And it should serve more than one purpose. That cement touch is we want to tell them about the service that we provide. We're going to help set up the conversation for a later date. We're going to serve as a reminder for the interaction, and we're going to tell them how they can go ahead and refer business. So what are some options that we could offer as a one to cement? What could be something that we could do for somebody? Again, they've been in our database. We've been on a 19 touch. We've been calling them and sending them some emails. And one day they pick up the phone and say, hey, thanks. You've been calling me, Wayne, and I appreciate you staying in touch with me. And I got some real estate questions now, or whatever it might be, right? So what could I offer that person at that moment to cement that relationship? What are some ideas we could brainstorm on? And it could be a buyer, seller, or investor, or a renter, or whatever it might be. What could we do? What could we offer them?
a market comparison of
Sorry?
someone else's.
Yep. Like a home, like a CMA?
Yes, for the area in which they're living in. If a home on their block is selling, you can help, give them a price quote as to what the value of their home could be.
Yeah. We could give them an equity analysis right away, right? On their house, for sure. Or a CMA on it. Absolutely. Recent solds. Yep. We talked about it earlier about a preferred vendor list. Like if we're looking at maybe we should segment this. What else? If we were a seller, what would sellers want? Like again, we have a preferred vendor list that we could share. Hey, listen, if you're thinking about getting your house ready, here's a list of vetted trades that work in the area that we've had great success with. Feel free to call any of them. Mention our name when they call. And there's plumbers, electricians. Like people always have something to do on their house, right? What would a buyer want that we could cement that?
You could refer a lender possibly
For sure.
to get them, maybe to help get them qualified, or to go through and see if they actually are ready to purchase.
Yeah, absolutely. That's step one with us. We don't even take buyers out unless they're pre-qualified. So that absolutely. Hey, do you have a preferred lender that you deal with? Because we have 3. Yeah, 100%. Do you guys have a buyer guide that you could maybe share with them? Is there something you could pull off your local real estate board, or something from NAR, or something you could take off and share with them? That'd be easy, right? You could even email that to them. And there's all kinds of great books. I mean, all of the KW books, whether or not they're investing or that they flip or hold or any of that stuff, there's some great books there that you can share with, right? And those are like $20. They're not very expensive, 20, 25 bucks, whatever they might be. A book would be a great thing. I like walkthroughs. Hey, are you interested in a walkthrough if you're a seller? Would you like me to walk through and give you some fix-up tips? What you might want to look at focusing on if you were to start thinking about selling your house, what the best returns are. You can give them, there's all kinds of great ads great articles on that stuff on the best returns. You could just take them something like that and send them, right? There's all kinds of stuff. You can just meet with them and have a coffee. That might work too, right? Why don't we get together? I could put a face to the name. I'll buy you a coffee. You can tell me what you're thinking and see how we can help you. Any of that stuff, right? Any ahas from that? That's the last section of that. Ooh, I think we probably have time. Let's take 5 minutes because there's a lead generation portion of this, because normally we'd be doing calls, right? As part of the daily success, there'd be a call time during Ignite. Let's take 5 minutes and send some text messages, as many as you can. Let's see who can get the most responses. I like, you could use their name. Hey, Bob, I was cruising through your neighborhood the other day and you popped into my head. I haven't seen you in a while. Do you have time for a coffee over the next 2 weeks? Why don't you send that out to as many people as you can in the next 5 minutes, and we'll see who gets the most responses. Or you can tailor it whatever way you want to tailor it. Hopefully we'll set some appointments for you right now. I got one. Anybody else get a response? Nice. Love it. Anybody else have more than one? They'll probably come in as we go along. It's easy though, right? That coffee thing. I was at Masterminds in the spring, and somebody talked about calling that 51st dates, and go on a coffee with somebody in your database once a week for 50 weeks, 51st dates. And you could do 2 or 3, right? Depending on how much time you have. It's a great idea. All right. There we go. Hopefully some other appointments come in there for you. Time's up. Remember to be TCPA compliant. Do not call the do not call list. Even in Canada, we can't do that. All right, let's move along to following up with leads. Again, we just talked about the purpose of opening the door for two-way communication. So now we're going to talk about what happens next. Now that we've opened that door to the two-way communication and we got a response from the lead. And because after lead generation, lead follow-up is the second most crucial part of your business, and it's going to either make or break your business. The lead generation is a key part, but the lead follow-up part is just as important as the lead generation. Because if we generate the lead and we don't follow up, it doesn't turn. Maybe I'll ask this question. What's our ultimate goal? What's our major metric in this business? What are we trying to get to? Other than, yeah, where are we trying to get to? What's our goal? Yes, I see a hand up. Go ahead and unmute.
Well, actually, Wayne, I just want to ask you something with regards to the do not call list.
Okay.
Because I mean, there are some, though I feel very like it's pretty strict, the do not call list. So I don't really necessarily want to be calling them, but there is a lot of debating about brokers that are okay with calling people that are on the do not call list.
Okay.
So when we're talking about making calls and stuff like that, what is your like opinion on that? I'm just going to ask the question because I know that you're Canadian.
Yeah.
So are you targeting like for sale by owners? And if you are, I mean, everybody's kind of targeting that. And what I've been noticing is that there's a lot of properties that are actually like on, let's say, du proprios in Quebec. But they're also listed with brokers. So for me, my idea, what I'm looking into exploring now is the canceled and the expired. What do you think?
So I'm going to say do not call the do not call list. I'm not a phone guy, hardcore phone guy though. I'm not a mojo dialer. I've always been a door knocker because there is no, other than do not solicit signs on the front door, there is no do not call list when you go to somebody's door. That's what I like about it. And I mean, calling expireds or calling canceled listings here or expired listings here, we actually in Ontario, we have a box that most sellers tick that says, I don't want to be contacted should this contract expire. So if you're going to do that, you better figure out a way to circle prospect the whole neighborhoods, because if they complain, you're in for it. So I guess the bottom line is, again, not to get too far down this rabbit hole, is stay compliant. Just stay compliant. There's lots of ways to get in front of people without breaking the rules, and everybody's going to do their own thing, but there are rules in place for a reason. And if someone complains, then you're going to run the risk of getting a pretty serious fine.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Wayne,
problem.
I, as the TCPA compliant police for KW, it seems like here, I do have a course that I teach. If you guys are interested, reach out to your leadership. I'm more than happy to come present it in your market centers. In short, the do not call list is in place. Do not call without checking it, period.
Yeah.
There are rules around calling expireds and FSBOs. You cannot contact them unless there's certain circumstances. Otherwise, check the registry. Do not call anybody without checking the registry. That's just the short end of it. But there is more intricate stuff to it.
Sure. Love it.
I just wanted to make a comment because I don't do it, but I get calls all day from people out. Do you want to sell your house? Do you want to? And I'll say I'm on the do not call list. And they may hang up or I just hang up. But I may get in touch with the fella in the chat because I feel like it's just running rampant. And I just want to, I'm like the Serena. I'm very cognizant, I worry about it. I don't want to call people on the do not call list, but I'm not getting that same respect and I'm ready to report. And so, but a lot of these companies we buy, different companies are calling, would you be interested in selling your house? And I didn't subscribe to them. So I'm going to learn more about it and start getting some of these people fined.
Yeah, well, that would be your choice, right? And that's the risk that all of us take if we choose not to do it. I knew guys in the office that would call, they would just go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that, my mistake," and they'd move along. But you're going to get somebody at some point that is going to enforce it, right? And then it's going to be the fines are pretty big here in Canada. So yeah, I wouldn't do it. And then but there are people who do it. So, but the question was, what are we trying to get to? when we're now that we're converting that lead, what are we trying to convert that lead to? What's our goal?
An appointment.
Correct. Yes, that is the magic. That is where we're trying to get to. Ultimately, our business boils down to, are we going on enough appointments, right? For those of you who do your business plan every year, which I hope you do, it boils down. That's how we boil it down, right? We take our GCI goal, we figure out how we want to break that up between buys and sells and all of our conversion rates, but it comes down, and in the end, it comes down to an appointment goal. So ultimately, that is what we're trying to get to when we're converting that lead, is to convert them to an appointment. So here's our roadmap for the second half. Learn lead conversion, how to convert a lead to an appointment, improve your conversion rate, and then we'll do some recaps and ahas as well. And by the end of this, the goal is to have you be able to apply the lead conversion model, develop your system for capturing, cultivating, converting, and closing leads, and apply proven methods to increase your conversion rate over time. Oh, learning a lead conversion. The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating them. That's from Gary. So why is it that both activities, lead generation and lead follow-up, deserve the same amount of time?
Don't you have to continually restock the pool?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you just focus on the conversion and you don't focus on generation, you may end up eventually drying up.
Yeah.
That's just what I think.
Just in deals, right? Yeah. Because you can be generating leads, and if you're not converting them, if you're not paying attention to those leads, where are they? Are they on sticky notes on your wall? Right? So that
other KW agent across the street got him.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, someone else will find him. Someone else at some point in time will come along, right? Or they'll just feel like, oh, maybe, he came to my door and I gave him my contact information, and I told him that I was interested in selling my house, and then he never called me. So I guess he's not interested in my business. So they just move along, right? And wouldn't it be sort of counterproductive to all of the effort that we put into lead generation when to spend the time? Because really most people don't really love lead generation, whether it's calling or, knocking on doors or whatever it might be. If everyone could take the opportunity to have calls just come into us, we'd be like, yeah, sign me up, right? So we put ourselves through the thing that most of us don't want to do, and we go out and we do it. We generate the lead, and then we don't follow up on it. It just seems counterintuitive, counterproductive, right? So yeah, they stocked an equal amount of time. So if you turn to your lead conversion process page in your guide, you'll see that where the process is, and Shift tells us that consistently getting every possible appointment from leads you generate isn't complicated, but it does require preparation, practice, and purposeful action. So you'll see at the top of the model, the lead comes in, you're going to capture the lead with enough contact information. Once you've done that, they're moving into the connect portion, where you're going to build the connection. You're going to gain information. Again, we're going to gain trust by contact them, sending information that they like. And finally, it ends to closing an appointment. Now, again, we talked about this. Does everybody that comes in on a lead going to convert to an appointment? No.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah. So for those of you who are thinking about running ads, Facebook ads, that type of stuff, on average, those leads typically don't convert. They're sort of a 12 to 18 month. Like, we're starting to see progress with people that have come into our database over a year ago. They're starting to do business, right? So for the online lead stuff, it sometimes takes a long time to convert somebody into an appointment. So in that case, we're going to move them back up into the cultivate piece, right? And then we're just going to stay in touch with them.
Wayne, I have a question.
Yes.
So what do you find is, because I have been hearing that with the Facebook leads, right? And some people are also saying that I've noticed it when I ran campaigns that also the quality of the lead is also a bit like it's questionable. Let's call it that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the fastest way to get a lead converted? Like, I mean, obviously, somebody's ready to buy now, they're ready to buy now. That would be the ideal situation.
Right.
But what do you think is the best way there?
So a lead converted to a contract, you mean? Like taking it all the way through, or
Well, I
converted
mean, I
to...
think that somebody that's ready to buy, well, the contract, it could take, that depends on if the person is ready, I think, in my mind, right?
Yep.
Like, if they're ready to buy, they're ready to buy. If they're ready to sell, they're going to sell. But I mean, when you do secure an appointment, there's no guarantee that, I mean, that's going to happen right away. Like, I think that the conversion rate, I mean, yeah, I think that people will get lucky and they'll be able to close rapidly, especially if they see the urgency of like what, also the value of what you're bringing and how they're starting to imagine things and like things could move pretty fast. But I mean, isn't it fair to say that like a lead could take up to like 8 months, 18 months in order to convert?
Yeah, I don't think we can talk people into, they're gonna transact in real estate when they're ready to transact in real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. That's it's their journey, and so we just want to be there when they're ready to transact in real estate. And what we're hoping is that we're talking to enough people so that we have people we talk about that wave, right? And everybody's on a different point in that wave. Well, if we're talking to enough people, we're going to find people at the top of the wave. We're going to find people on their way down at the bottom and on their way back up. Like we're going to have a mix, right? So, and obviously we need people that are ready to transact right away because we like, especially for a steady business. But ultimately, when a lead comes in, I can't force them to buy or sell a house. It's not my job to do that. My job is to guide and protect them through it. And their motivation is their motivation, right? So yeah, you just got to stay in touch with them until they're ready to go, until they get to the top of the thing. And then they kind of go, oh yeah, Wayne's been calling me regular and sending me stuff. And I like, I kind of like what he has to say. I'm at least going to meet with them. I mean, that's ultimately all we want is the at-bat, right? I want the at-bat.
What do you think about paying leads? Because this is a hot topic for a lot of people here right now. I've gotten approached a lot with like marketing companies, and they're charging like $150 for a lead that, I mean, I don't necessarily even know if that lead is, I've had debates with them because I don't think that it's a qualified lead. So what's your thoughts on that?
Other than the ads we run on campaign, we don't pay for leads. That's it. We we advertise our listings and what comes in off of that. Otherwise, we are calling our database and we work our geo farms. So that's it. Yeah.
Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah, no problem. So converting after the lead generation, the lead conversion is the most crucial part of your business. That's where we're moving that possible business into the probable business, into the profitable business. And again, we want to move them into that appointment because the appointment is when you're going to start to earn income. So that is the ultimate goal. For those of you who have taken Bold, has anybody here taken Bold? And do you guys know what the 5 things you have, your job description? There's 5 things you need to do every day. Does anybody know what they are? Well, you know one, because you already did it in step 1 or step 2, right? After you did your value proposition, what was the next section? Lead generation, right? So that's your first job. So today we're talking about lead follow-up. That's your second job. You're ultimately from there, we want to go on appointments, right? So that's our third job. And number 4, we're going to negotiate contracts. Once we go on those appointments, we're hoping that we're going to take buyer reps and listing appointments. And number 5 is we have to script and dialogue. And I would almost put scripting and dialogue, I would say lead generation and scripting and dialogue are almost like a 1A and 1B, because I think that if you're not scripting and dialogue, your lead generation isn't running at its peak performance. So those are your 5 things that need to get done every day. The 2 most important, if you don't do the lead generation and the lead follow-up and arguably the scripting and dialogue, you don't have to worry because there won't be any appointments to go on and there won't be any contracts to write, right? The other 3 funnel into the other 2. So that if you're looking at things to do in your morning, there's just do those 3 jobs, do your lead generation, your lead follow-up, and your scripting and dialogue, and your appointments and your contracts will come. Absolutely. How to convert a lead to an appointment. So it's simple to capture and collecting a lead. When the lead comes in, what kind of information would we like from that lead? What are we looking to grab?
Their contact information.
Yep. And what would that be?
Name, telephone number, email, whatever method of communication they prefer, and get all that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Those are good 3s. Ultimately, you'd like to get as much information from them so that you can communicate with them in the way that you want to communicate with them. So if your 19 touch program requires, if one of those touches is going to be a direct mail, then whatever you're doing to capture that information, you're going to need to be asking them for like a mailing address as well, right? So that's going to allow you to implement your plan. Because if you have a direct touch in your plan and you're not asking them for their mailing address, it's going to be hard to implement your plan. So ultimately, you want to capture the amount of information so that you can run your plan. What are some of you guys using for, or what are some of the methods we can use to generate leads?
Campaigns, ads.
Yep.
Networking events.
Yeah. Does anybody use like a QR code to sign in for open houses? What are you guys using for open house sign-ins? Or you just haven't, like I still kind of go old school sometimes. I just have a sheet people fill out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's one way, right? Mailers, all that stuff. I mean, and if you're going to be a Facebook or a social media person, then you're going to want that contact information, right? Because some people are like, yeah, I'm just a social media. That's where I'm going to get my business from. So yeah, you're going to need to know where they are on social media, the Instagram, their X account, their whatever, TikTok, all that stuff, right? So you're going to need to have that included in as well. So one of the things that we talked about this earlier, when the lead comes in, you're going to need to know what to say once you get that person on the phone, right? So conversations, frameworks. If I were to need to contact you, what would that number be? If I found exactly what you're looking for, how would I contact you? If I found out that information you're wanting, how would I get it to you? So again, these are just questions that you can be asking when you get that lead on the phone, when they finally answer. And we're going to capture all those leads, are going to go into our database, and we're going to continue to cultivate the relationship using the touch campaigns. And again, we already know that all of them might not be ready for an appointment right away. So our goal is to gain, again, that we want that mind share. We want that emotional proximity. So when they're ready to go, they're thinking about us. So in your participant guide, there's a question about the system that you have in place for your lead capture. Why don't you take 3 minutes and work on that? I think the question is, how are you currently capturing leads? What information are you collecting? What are your current lead categories and tags? And what can you do to improve your current lead capture system? Let's do that in 3 minutes.
Hey, Wayne, I know you're
Yes.
probably not paying attention to the chat. Kevin here says one of his texts generated a call. You see he's on the phone
Hey,
right now if you check that out.
sweet. Way to go, Kevin. It's awesome.
I got one as well.
Woo, it works. It's awesome. If you're looking for a great book to read, Ninja Selling by Larry Kendall is an awesome book, and that's like he's a big proponent of, you know, the coffee a day. You know, just get out and just meet with your clients. Okay. So hopefully that gave you guys some clarity in terms of what you might be doing for your lead generation and your system. So once you connect with them, now it's about laying the foundation for a working relationship. So once we connect with them, how do we effectively connect with somebody? What do we do? Get you on the phone. What am I going to do?
Well, we can start out by asking how the kids, finding from having a conversation with them before, just knowing maybe a little bit if they have a dog, how's the doggy daycare, maybe just talking about something you may have picked up on a previous conversation or overhearing them. Um,
What were all
uh,
those things?
yeah,
What were all those things?
say that again.
What were all those things you were asking me? Yeah, there were questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just going to ask a lot of questions. As that makes the conversation about them, it demonstrates to them that we care. We're learning more. The more we can learn about them, the better we can serve them. The better we can send them information that's pertinent to them. And it's just a great way to connect with people. People like to talk about themselves, right? So let's just ask a ton of questions when we finally get them on the phone, right? Because the idea is, again, we're going to build that relationship, because some of the things, by asking questions, we're looking to sort of go, okay, what's their urgency? So I know how to prioritize that lead, because not all leads are created equal. So we do need to find out, well, you know, when would you like to be in your new home, or when would you like to make that move? And then if we are segmenting our database, we need to know what segment to put them in and how to tag them, right? So we're going to ask them tons of questions. So the best practices is we're going to embed our value proposition in the conversation. We're going to layer in like, well, where's my strength and how can it help you? We're going to role play and practice the conversations. I really hope everybody is scripting with somebody, and that should be, again, part of your daily practice. You don't want to be practicing on your clients. That is no fun. I've done it, and it's just not fun. Do it with a script partner so that when you get in front of people, you know what you're saying. And if you're really when you become a ninja, like a scripting ninja, you can start where you can know where you want to go, and you can start asking questions backwards so that you get them into kind of answering themselves right into where you'd like them to be. I had a coach that it didn't matter how hard I tried. Every time he would take me exactly where he wanted to take me. And then when he was done, he would say, "That's a great idea, Wayne. I'm glad you came up with it." He was like scripting ninja. So know your scripts. So again, in your participant guide, you're also going to find a list of questions categorized by buyers and sellers that you can customize to use in your business. And as you go through the connection process and cultivate the relationship, you'll learn more about that person, what they're looking for, and you'll learn if they're looking to buy or sell, so that you can start to use these questions as well. So, and how many people here are not using a CRM and are, you know, my Excel people who are like, I have an Excel spreadsheet, that's where I keep names? Is there anybody out there that wants to admit it? Why do we use a CRM? Ultimately, what are we tracking here? What are we keeping track of?
Contacts.
Yeah, and
And-
every time when I'm contacting you and we're having a conversation, what am I doing with that information after we talk?
I put it in my CRM.
Yeah. Yeah. It becomes like a living thing, right? It's like, hey, I talked to you today. You're going to Italy next month. The next time when I call you next quarter, how was your trip to Italy? How'd that go? There's, it's a great way to sort of stay in touch with people and follow along with what's going on in their life, right? And it's a living thing. And I think the problem with an Excel spreadsheet is it's not scalable, eh? And how do you keep track of all of that information? The tags, all of that stuff. I mean, you got to do it in a CRM. And and that allows you, again, you're going to be able to assess how you can help them in the future by keeping track of them. So these are great questions to ask.
It's funny that you said the Excel spreadsheet, Wayne, because so many brokers use it. And I think it's to each their own system. But I mean, I think why would you do that when you could use the CRM and there's slot that you could plug all the information in there and it does the work for you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how if you have 1,000 names in an Excel spreadsheet, I don't know how you categorize all those and stay in touch with them and keep track of who they are and contact. I couldn't do it. The CRM is so much easier, and Command does it for you. I mean, why would you do it? So if you turn to the lead conversion process and cultivation page of their participant guide, the goal in using the lead conversion model is to ultimately immediately capture, to connect, and close. However, there's going to be a small percentage of people that are, they're not going to turn into an appointment. So once they've moved in, again, we're going to move them along the stages, whether the 19 to connect or the 1 to cement and the 36 to convert. And ultimately, we're going to put them into the cultivate stage. And that's where they're going to stay until they move into someplace else. But again, not everybody is going to turn into an appointment right away. So they move on to the cultivate stage. And the cultivation is the step in the model which a lot of agents struggle with. Why do we struggle with the cultivation side? Where do we struggle there?
I think people forget or they lose track of the following up.
So what is that? What are they lacking?
Value.
Structure, discipline,
Yeah, or sorry, I didn't hear the other answer.
Value.
Value. Oh, so that could be one of the things if they're struggling as to why to make the call. They don't know what the value is, and that's why I think there's always a reason, whether it's an event, whether it's a report, something's changed. I think you should always have some reason to call somebody. Absolutely. But a lot of people just lose the cultivation part because they just don't have a system, right? They don't have a touch system. They don't have a plan in place on how they're going to stay in touch with people over time. Because again, that cultivate, how long we talked about this before, that cultivate stage could be 10 years, right? Could be 7 to 10 years before somebody's actually ready to transact. So it could take a long, long time. And that's where a lot of agents struggle with that because they don't have a system. And then when somebody's in their database, and this happened to me the other day, somebody in my database listed their house, and I was like, oh. And I went back and I looked at my database, and I was like, oh, I left them a message at Christmas. That was the last time I talked to them. So I missed reaching out to them this quarter, although I did knock on their door like 2 weeks ago. And there's a for sale sign on their lawn. So that's my fault. I'm not going to blame them. I clearly wasn't in front of them when they're at the top of the wave. So that happens, but I can't blame them, right? So the shift book tells us you can't know or predict when you will come to when they will come to a decision. But if you're reconnecting with them in a systematic way, you'll have a great chance of being there when they do, and that's when you'll be able to close for the appointment. We're moving on to close the appointment. And so what are the essential elements of the appointment? What are we looking to schedule? When are we looking to schedule it?
Today.
ASAP.
Yeah, ASAP. Yeah. soon as we can, right? And do we schedule the appointment if all the decision makers aren't there?
It's best.
I think all the
when-
parties need to be there.
Yeah, it's best when all parties involved are present.
I agree. If you can't have all the decision makers present, and the decision makers can be kids, they can be parents, like whatever it is. It isn't always just the two people on title. It could be, you know, if they're an elderly couple, it could be their kids need to be there. Like all the decision makers need to be there as soon as possible, right? Yeah. Date, time, everything else. So, and we will remind you to keep safety in mind when you're scheduling your appointment, because then you may or may not know these people. This could be somebody that was a lead and you've never actually met them before. So if this is the first time that you're going to meet them face to face, I would do so at the office during daylight hours, during open hours, so people are around. Or if you're going to their house for a listing appointment, take a colleague. Let people know where you're going. Just always keep safety in mind whenever you're setting that appointment. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. This is a quote from Gary. In the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will meet. And if they don't, they won't. And that's okay. You really don't care about their answer ultimately, because you're not getting people to do anything that they don't want to do. You're just going to ask and respond until they agree that meeting with you makes sense or doesn't. Either way, you both win. So if we look at this and apply this towards the KW belief system, the Y4C 2Ts, what does this quote make you guys think of in terms of our belief system? Where does this resonate in that, and what part of that?
Win-win or no deal.
Yeah, that's me too. And it's, you know, commitment, customers, right? It's about the customer. And communication. Yep. Let's talk about improving our conversion rate. So there are ways to improve our conversion rates. What conversion rates are we talking about? And what are you guys tracking so far in terms of your conversion rate? There's sort of three that we talk about. Can any of you guys know what they are in terms of conversion rates? So maybe number one would be contacts to appointments. So if right now you're doing your lead generation, and this is where, you know, for you guys who do like Excel spreadsheets, this is where you can kind of lean into your Excel spreadsheet. And that's where I would be keeping track daily of the number of people that you're having conversations with, track that, and then figure out, okay, well, how many people do I need to talk to on average to generate one appointment, right? So that's our first conversion, is appointments, is contacts to appointments. And then once we're going on appointments, how am I converting in terms of appointments to contracts? What's my conversion rate there? And how well am I doing? And then the third conversion rate would be contracts into closings. In Canada, our deals don't really fall apart on closing day like you guys do down in the States. Once we're a firm deal, even if the property isn't closing for 90 days, like, we're locked and loaded for that time. We don't have a closing table. So our deals are a lot more bulletproof than they are for you guys. But I understand that, you know, converting the contract to a close takes a lot more time and effort in terms of managing that and keeping it between the buoys, between all the parties and, you know, the lenders and the title companies and all that stuff. So that takes time. So the first conversion rate, again, if you guys aren't tracking this, I would strongly suggest you start tracking the number of people you're talking to in a day, and then tracking that to an appointment. And if we're not converting to appointments, what's our challenge there? What do we need to work on? If we're talking to a lot of people and we're not converting to appointments, what are we challenged with?
Strategy, maybe.
Could be strategy, you know, could be who you're talking to. A lot of times it's your message, the value, what you're bringing to them, maybe the way you're presenting yourself, the mindset you have when you're lead generating. It could be a multiple things. And if we're getting on enough appointments and we're not turning into contracts, that sort of leans into the same thing, right? It could be that we're lacking value in that presentation, or we're not scripted well enough when we're getting you know, questions about what, you know, how we do business. And again, that's knowing those numbers is when you guys talked about the 6 personal perspectives earlier on, that is moving from E to P. Because, you know, if you're in the E part, if you're not tracking your numbers, you're kind of still hovering in that entrepreneurial space. And really moving to purposeful is knowing those numbers. Because once you get a firm grasp on what those conversion rates are, that makes your business a lot easier to run, a lot easier to run. So a couple of things to keep in mind is the first thing is we're going to time block. So if you haven't done so already, I would suggest that you put follow-up in your calendar somewhere. Along with lead generation, lead follow-up should also be time blocked into your calendar. The other is you're going to use systems and conversations. And again, that's practice your conversations and your dialogues. Use the systems that support lead conversion in your business. And conversations are a powerful tool that can help you say what you want, when you want, and what you intend to say in the most powerful and impactful way. The other thing is you're going to connect to your whole database. Don't have call bias about your database. When a name comes up in your database, call them, even if you kind of go, ugh, I kind of don't like this person. Like, call everybody, contact everybody, be in touch with everybody all the time. Don't have call bias. And the other thing is you want to prioritize your qualified leads. So there's an easy way to do this. It's basically called a pipeline. So if you take all of your leads, and again, for your Excel spreadsheet guys, you can put them in an Excel spreadsheet. And I got this from James Shaw, he used to be my coach, is you rank them in terms of the number of months that they're ready to transact. So if somebody's ready to transact next month, they get a 1. If they're ready to transact in 2 months, they get a 2. In 3 months, it's a 3, and so on and so forth. And just rank them up until, I would go up until 12, and then maybe you could do a 12 plus. But the great thing about a pipeline is that gives you real clarity on who you should be in front of on most often, right? Because that 1, you need to be on that 1 a lot more often than you need to be on the person that's a 12 plus, right? So that's why the prioritizing your leads and putting them in a pipeline is a great way to track those people. So every lead has the potential to turn into business. That's what we've learned today, right? Every lead has the potential to turn into business. And there are no bad leads. I hope you guys are coming away with it, that there are no bad leads. So with the lead conversion model, you have learned that to capture the appropriate information so that you can get a hold of the lead, you've learned to connect to assess their needs and establish a relationship. You've learned to cultivate the relationship through asking great questions, giving them information that's pertinent to them and they find interesting. And then we're going to close. We're going to be asking for the appointment because that's ultimately what our goal is to get there. And that, my friends, is the end of that. So before we do ahas, I am going to ask you guys if you could take a minute and scan the QR code. Again, I'm KWU faculty, so I love the feedback in terms of how I can improve. So if you would take a moment and scan the QR code and drop me a quick eval, I'd be truly grateful for you guys. And please be very honest about the feedback, is the only way I'm going to get better is, you know, through feedback. And the session, I think the session you can use, I'll be all the way, once you look for the instructor, I'm pretty well all the way down the bottom because it's in alphabetical order starting with the first name.
So how do we annotate? Well, I guess this is Ignite 10.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's well, you can do either 10 or 11, I think.
It's 11 is on the screen.
Yeah, we did 10 and 11, so you can do either or. It's up to you.
I have a question. Would we
Yes.
consider that there's another instructor in the room right now, or okay, very good.
No, I don't count. I'm just tech support. You know, it's all good.
Feel free to give him
I
a
don't
ring.
need my reviews or anything, Wayne. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you for taking the time to do that. All right, as we've got like a few minutes left, does anybody have any ahas or questions or anything they're going to take away? Maybe we can go with what's the one thing that you're going to implement in your business out of this last two sessions that we talked about today? I see Lori's hand up. Go ahead, Lori.
Okay, video and microphone. I am once again taking the course on a cell phone. So I have a problem when I contact people.
Okay.
I become their friend. They don't talk to me. I can't seem to get to the land portion of it. And in this case, it's I say land because I know a lady that I've been keeping in touch with. I met her accidentally, as I do many people, and she has loads of land. But I cannot, she keeps talking about selling it herself. Maybe there's no answer, but I'd love to hear what perhaps you both have to say about that. Thank you.
So it's just this one client, or you find that you get into long conversations with people just in general?
It's come up a couple of times where I know people have land, but they have other ideas of how they're going to sell it. And it's typically so-and-so approached me and offered and wanted to know how much I was going to sell it for. And I interrupt and I say, well, please keep in mind, no matter what, if you list it, you will most likely get more than he is offering you. I elaborate, with market stats and such, but it happens frequently, not all the time, but frequently. I get in this, it's a value thing and it's a comfort thing for me. I can't seem to, there's some, I obviously have to practice scripts, but just wondering how to get out of that chasm, which is what I feel like I'm in. And so much so where I just stopped calling this lady. So.
Well, I think you just answered it. Yeah, I would say it's both things. It is value and bringing value and scripts to her. Yeah.
I think it's your mindset, Lori, because you
it.
said that you accidentally met her. There's never an accident. You were meant to meet this person. And since you met them, don't work so hard to be their friends. They're already your friend. You have a natural ability, it sounds like, to create that relationship, know it, own it, and then control it. It's no different than any of our other natural talents, right? I'm a talker and I'll sit here and talk for the next 20 minutes and you guys will listen to it. You might not get anything out of it, but you're going to listen because I'll keep it entertaining. So don't do that, right? It's your mindset of this person came into my life for a reason and it's my business and I'm going to service them the way they need to be serviced.
I think my issue, as you said, is controlling it. That's where I lose it. I let her control me. I mean, and is it possible that it's just a no-go? This person wants to go FSBO. She's done it before. Is it possible? Like, is that something I should walk away from, or is there a way I can?
Absolutely not. If she's talking to you, there's something there. You haven't taken the reins of that horse and brought it into the barn yet. That's all. If she wanted to go FSBO, she would have gone FSBO. She never would have talked to you. She's talking to you. There's a reason she's talking to you. You need to ask more questions and find out what's going on.
That's what I was going to go to. Ask her more questions. Yeah.
I have to think about that. What could I ask her
No,
that I
don't think. Just ask.
Well, what do I ask her? But I don't want to take up everyone's time. I'll think about that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so
We'll
much.
get her. Good luck.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, when you come back by next week, I want to hear you landed that. Okay.
Oh, I've been working on her for a year, but I'll do my best, Matt.
Anybody else? Any ahas? What are we going to take away? Well, all right. I think that might be it, eh, Matt? Anything else, guys? Anybody have another question?
Looks like it. William. I wonder where William is. Where's William? William, what's his name? William, is he on here? Did he leave us?
He got the call?
No, Kevin got the call. Where is
Kevin
Kevin leave yet? Oh, Kevin's on here still. I'd like to hear about Kevin's call. No, I just want to ask how William's boating was. I saw him out on his boat while he was on earlier. So I want to know where he was at, and it looked peaceful. I was just a little jealous, but
I agree.
Kevin got a call, and who else did they got a call? Are you all still in here? Because I'd like to hear about what your calls led to, if anything. That'd be a great aha.
I've got a coffee booked for next Thursday.
There you go.
I got a call back from a previous coworker, and I said it's been a while. She's like, yeah, oh my God, we need to catch up and have dinner. And I said, awesome, when? And then now her and another coworker, all three of us work together, and now it's basically we're going to MGM. We'll meet up at the casino. So
Nice.
I said,
When's
well,
that?
how about I give you each a quarter and you play for me? And she's like, I just donate to the casino. But that would be awesome to get to see them.
Let me know.
Yeah, that's great. Congrats.
MGM's like 45 minutes down the road. I'll come meet you and help you out with the pelt track.
No kick in a quarter.
Right.
It'll be a lot more than that.
I'm hoping to bring the wagon. Hopefully that is that much.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, normally I would throw my cell phone and email in the chat box, but I can't figure out how to get that to work. So I don't know. I'll figure it. If you actually email me, I will answer that. I know how to work, but I'll figure out another way to reach out to you guys. But I am in the Toronto area. If you guys ever have anybody coming up to the Toronto, I'd be happy to chat. If you want to connect with me, I do have a pretty extensive referral network going on, and I'm happy to add you guys in and get some business going either way. It'd be great. And the hack on Toronto is you don't pronounce the second T. If you come up here and say Toronto, we know you're a come from aware. So it's Toronto. All right.
Those Americans.
Look, don't be pronouncing certain letters in multiple cities we live in, right? I'm just saying, where's my Chicago people?
Yeah, yeah.
Where's my New York people? Where's my Be More people? I mean, I can go on, right?
You gotta know.
No judgment here, Wayne. We got it.
Right.
Thanks
there
for the
you
tip.
go. I'm just giving you guys the hack so that you know that you don't get treated differently.
Hey guys, before you go, I have been remiss in doing my reviews, but plan to do them all at once. Is that possible?
As long as you know, yes, it is. As long as you know the instructors that you had for each session, then just go to kweval.com and just fill out one at a time and knowing what sessions they did. Okay. So if you've tracked your instructors in the sessions, you can go sit down and do them whenever you want, to be honest with you. Stacy might not like it when she gets a whole bunch of them from you like 6 months after Ignite happens. Okay. But she'll still take them, and so will we, to be honest with you. So it's okay.
Well, I'll keep that in mind. I'll try to get them taken care of.
Look,
okay, great.
The weekend's coming. Grab a drink, sit down, knock them out. You'll be fine. Everything will work out good.
Stick with Ignite, guys. Do the work. Take the stuff. Implement what you're learning here. You're going to learn a lot, and it's the kind of a fire hose coming at you. There's going to be a lot of stuff. So if you're going to implement one thing from each and then kind of go back afterwards, this is a great course. And if you do the work and you implement the stuff you'll learn here, you will have success in the business. So I thank you for being here, and I applaud you guys for investing into yourself. So keep it up, and hopefully I'll meet you at a family reunion or a mega camp or somewhere down the way. But Godspeed. Good luck.
Boy, those of you are still on here, your feedback is important. There is a rewrite coming for Ignite that I know about. So if there's anything you think that's missing, or whatever it may be, not just about us as instructors, just about the program, make sure you put that feedback in there as we work on improving Ignite.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for everything.
Can I put you all on a keychain and just carry you everywhere I go? That's what I'm just
well, good luck, Charms. Yeah.
I mean,
Matt, I got you.
We'll
You're Maryland. So. But anywho,
have a good night, guys.
You.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for your help, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Wayne. Appreciate you.
Cheers, bud.